We were hippies. We were middle-class, left-wing artists living on a commune in Woodstock in the late 1960s and early 1970s. We made art, raised children and some chickens, and kept in close contact with Abby Hoffman, who grew up with my father and two uncles. I was guilty by association. The youngest person in the commune family. I had no choice. I was young. The stories I hear today mix with faint memories, and it becomes a jumble. But I remember the chickens, that screaming flock of talon-wielding, flying, and I mean flying, fucking scary chickens, pecking and scratching around the yard, and Big Red the rooster was the worst. He haunted me and made it hard to fall asleep at night, and he was mean. These hippies, my family, built a coop and chicken run, and it was exactly as you would expect. It looked like a bunch of hippies had built it. And some chickens escaped and lived in the branches of the trees and ended up flying to the neighbors' houses, and they were a complete mess. Predators could get in the coop too, so much so that there was beginning to be a wholesale slaughter of our precious flock of hippie birds, and we were upset not only on a practical level, but spiritually and ethically as well. My uncle had taken up bow hunting, odd for these hippies. He approached the group over the nightly feast and said, "Listen, I can solve the predator problem. I've got my bow and arrow. I'm going to set up at night and wait for Rocky," we had named the raccoon, "and I'm going to take care of it. We can be heroes just for one day, at least to the chickens." The group argued about the moral implications and social repercussions of such an outrageous and violent act, but all eventually agreed, for the sake of the birds, that he could proceed. So I envisioned my uncle with his bow and single arrow. He had managed to lose all his other arrows, and I see him high on some hippie mixture of peyote and mushrooms and herbal tea and some brown rice and cheese to keep it all down. And I imagine him crawling into the coop, shooting and missing and finding the arrow, shooting again and chasing the raccoon, and finally using the arrow to stab and plunge at the poor creature until he became that hero he had spoken of, covered in blood and sweat and fear and joy and tears and feces, and the chickens were saved. Unfortunately for us and the chickens, the fuel crisis hit, the cost of grain skyrocketed, and we had to kill the flock. Hippies Killing a Flock of Chickens is available on DVD. I can get you a copy. The children had the grim task of plucking the birds, and the bodies were warm from the scald bath, and we ate chicken for months. Big Red was the most delicious of all.